Here's the funny thing, and this is going to sound strange, and we've not had this discussion. I've not seen it on even really the news yet, but they've kind of hinted at it without, they might not realize it. Do you realize that Ron DeSantis's presence in the race may help Trump for one reason? And when I say presence in the race, and I'm talking about maybe you help him, although I still don't think he wins the general election, but one thing that helps him, DeSantis is running to the right of Trump, and uh DeSantis is doing some crazy stuff, so crazy that as he does it, Donald Trump is standing with us saying, I mean, it's so whether it's Disney, I think it's funny because Trump is taking credit for killing Roe versus Wade, but he's also saying that we shouldn't, ban abortion. So it's funny because I don't know if I'm the only one that's noticing it, but Ron DeSantis is allowing Donald Trump to look like a moderate.
Well, I think you're right, but I also think you're right in the primary because what Donald Trump's doing is this is a win-win for us, John. Here's why: because Donald Trump's going to have to kind of go far right to meet DeSantis in the primary, and he's going to have to try to come back moderate for the general. And Biden this week, the Biden Twitter account, at least I should say, pointed out the fact that Trump said, hey, I killed it. I'm the responsible. I'm solely the responsible for killing Roe v. Wade. And Biden's like, there it is, guys. Like, what do you guys like? Don't blame anybody but the Republicans for this. So not only is it political theater for us, and we get to sit on the sidelines and enjoy them eat each other up, but then they have to out ridiculous themselves. And then when it gets to the general, we're just going to pick up the pieces and say, look at what they did, right? Trump's going to take credit. He took credit for this, and now he just has to own it. And I think people are going to remember that, undoubtedly. I also wonder what happens with Florida. So I don't know if you read this, but DeSantis signed a bill that said he could run for president. He signed some bill that said he could run for president while being governor and
Right, because
et cetera, right?
Florida had what they called a resign to run law. Most states don't, but Florida, for some reason, had that.
Yeah. So it's pretty clear to me that he's going to run, and then he still wants to be governor if he loses. But what if he loses the Florida primary to Trump? Like Donald's beloved in the villages in Florida, right? It's not like Donald's like a newcomer to that state. He's basically a Floridian at this point. What if he loses? What if DeSantis loses the Florida primary to Trump, and it just weakens him as a governor and sets us up for the next race and try to unseat him, right? Again, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. I'm just saying DeSantis, I think, is making a fatal flaw that right now DeSantis, and the same thing with Trump, right? DeSantis could be the governor of Florida for the next 30, 40 years, have ultimate power and be the king of his own castle. But his own greed wants him to get further, and it might just hurt him ultimately. What's your take on that?
No, I don't disagree, but it also, and something you and I have talked about, and we got to probably drive home again, especially if Trump gets in trouble and for some reason is unable to carry out his campaign, and then DeSantis becomes the favorite. A lot of people have always talked about DeSantis as the smart or cautious Trump. I, I don't believe that I think Trump's the only one that can get away with Trumpism. I think that if DeSantis is the smarter Trump, DeSantis is the younger Trump, DeSantis is the more savvier Trump, I think DeSantis loses because reason why they're calling him the whatever qualifier Trump is because he embraces the cruelty. And I don't understand how any of these things, they signed an anti-trans law that I think I read somewhere allows the state to take children away. I mean, dude, let's put on your filmmaker hat. That's a 30-second spot where you could literally there are literally situations, or there could be situations in which the Florida authorities show up and take a kid away, and a kid is screaming. And don't forget that kid. If the kid is transitioning, that kid's in a loving home. That kid's going to be in a supportive home, and they're going to. DeSantis has signed those bills. How can we should go to hell as a country if we elect Donald Trump. We should definitely go to hell as a Trump country as if Trump isn't there and we elect DeSantis, because that's just outright cruelty. That is unbelievable outright cruelty.